Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from the MMA world and beyond. I'm your host, Lexi Auld, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson of Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything You Ever Want to Know About Ass Kicking, but we're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking. This is our special ABC edition.
It's so smooth out. Hey, man. Yo, bro.
Hey, man. All natural, too, baby. All natural.
Okay, all right.
So, Eugene, you're the UFC. Speaking of all natural, or all natural, GSP appeared on the MMA Hour and seemed to be close to coming back. Drug testing policy? Check. Relationship with Dana? Check. Reebok, quote, we need to renegotiate maybe a new contract. I'm not allowed to wear my sponsors anymore.
That was good.
Yeah. Sterling.
And I lose money. It depends on how it's going to go down with the UFC. We'll see what's going to happen, end quote. Tell us what's going to happen, UFC Eugene.
Well, you know what? I think these guys fundamentally exist in very different places. And I might get pushback from because I know that there are people out there who are insane GSP myopians, but the reality of it is that there's what is that thing, the phrase that Kid Nate is always using about sell by date. It may happen that you play your hand a little bit too long and people just don't give a fuck. The audiences, I remember our tour manager saying at one point, you do realize that your audience molts every 4 years. I go, 4 years? Where are you coming up with that number? He goes, 4 years is about the time it takes to graduate from college. Guys get to be about 22. They go on to different types of music. If they're 22, by the time they're 26, they've gone on to different types of music. They're listening to EDM. They're not listening to you. So you got to do something in a cycle that's right under that. Every 3 years. I mean, how long has GSP been gone? I mean, at this point, you can put together a great highlight reel of GSP's exploits, but the exploits will be so far from the beginning of early on his career that you'll be able to tell a difference because the freaking film stock will be different. Where you look and go, oh, this looks old. I mean, I think
also pre-Reebok policy shorts and
Yeah, I think that he's doing what's ultimately right for him. But I think at this point, the time is his enemy. And I like that he's taking a stand, but he's taking a stand for him. He's not taking a stand for fight. It may happen like Conor McGee that it raises the level of all boats if he gets a more favorable deal out of Reebok, a ridiculous deal as it stands, as we've been saying for a long time. But at this point, if they haven't moved for anybody else, why would they move for him? Conor McGee is the only one that we've seen openly rebel, refusing to put the shirt on after a win. Doing what the hell he wants. Probably got a pretty good deal out of it. But I don't see. I just think the bald one's game is to wait.
So that's what you do.
You think in a year,
if you're him, if you're the UFC, you just
return's going to have any freaking juice? No.
Yeah.
So you're struggling to get Eugene to put his answer into the show format? Is that what you're doing?
I'm not struggling.
He didn't do that at all.
He's giving the whole perspective, which makes a lot of sense. But
In
at the end of the day,
your very specific question was, what should GSP do, or what should the ball do?
UFC. If you're the UFC,
that was the first.
If I'm the UFC, I wait. I keep coming back. It's like when I worked at Nikon, and they kept saying, "Oh, I want you to develop a proposal for the corporate magazine," which is why they tricked me into coming there. And I kept doing a proposal, and they sent me back. If you could do this, so after the fourth iteration, I realized there's no magazine. There's no magazine. You don't want me to do anything. It's the same thing. I mean, it's like GSP. They keep coming back to the table, back to the table, back to the table. At what point do they need him? I mean, I'll give it to you this way. Who will they match him with that you'll want to see him fight?
Anderson Silva. Boom.
That's it?
That's
Nate
a good
Diaz.
pay-per-view right there. Nick Diaz. I mean,
no, not really. Not as long as Conor McGee. I'm still putting my money on the you offended the family honor thing, the Nate Nick two-step, and Anderson Silva maybe, but that's really about it. And whether or not you want to see him fight Anderson Silva is completely dependent on what happens with Anderson Silva's next step in the cage. So
you can say that, and people will say that, but look at Royce Gracie versus Ken Shamrock setting ratings records on Bellator not that long ago. I mean, there's.
Was that and not Kimbo and Dada?
Well, there was a mix. It was a mix, but
Kimbo will fight again. Ken will never fight again.
Yeah, Ken is done because he screwed up again. But no, I mean, if I'm the UFC, I wait this out exactly as long as I can until I absolutely need a pay-per-view headliner. And they're in a position where they got less and less pay-per-view headliners. So that day is coming. And now they're just going to have to give GSP more cash. I don't know if they're going to the Under Armour thing is a tougher one, though, because once they let that camel's nose under the tent, even if they say it's just GSP, every fighter manager is going to be coming to them with some kind of bullshit proposal. My sponsor wants to do this in the octagon.
Right.
My sponsor wants to sponsor my robe. My sponsor wants to do this. So they got to hold the line on the Under Armour, but just pay GSP enough money to make it worth his while to sign the paper and get in the cage. They will do it by the end of this year. By the fall.
Oh, that's an aggressive schedule.
That's how the cupboards are bare.
Based on what's happening, and
Did I
based
mention
on
the
the
cupboards
road
are bare?
look down, that doesn't seem crazy actually. So
There you go.
All right,
problem solved.
There we go.
Next.
Well, let's go back to you, Nate. You're Dominic Cruz. Urijah Faber.
What's so funny about that?
I like Cruzy and smack talk. I like Dominic, not Ted.
So Urijah Faber went on Submission Radio and showed RESPECT by emphasizing the PED in your ripped appearance. What PR moves do you make to prevent his accusations from affecting your legacy and commentary gig?
If you're Dominic Cruz in this position, it's going to take one thing to burst that bubble, and that's a failed drug test. What precautions do? You either don't use PEDs, you change up your regimen, or you really carefully mask your shit. You just take those proper steps, do it right, don't get caught, and then let Faber talk all the shit he wants. I'm not saying Cruz is doing PEDs. I'm just saying if he is, get your game down tight. And then just let Faber talk shit and talk shit back and build up that match that some people still kind of want to see. It's the biggest money match you got. By all means, let Faber talk all the shit he wants. He can light a big set of dog turds on fire, put them in a paper bag, put them on your porch. As long as we get it on video and get it on UFC Tonight and get it on the internet, good. More money, more money.
What about you, Eugene?
I think that there's something that I would have thought you guys would have raised or at least considered, and I'm thinking that this has now become the go-to blast. You know, the first salvo fired in a fight war. You know, a war fight. Like I heard somebody say, medicine doctor. I got it, man. I got it at doctor. You know, you have to say medicine in a war fight. In other words, true or not, it helps to put a guy on his back foot, you know? I mean, because if a guy is on, then he's like now panicked. And if a guy is not on, he's now angry and trying to prove something.
When did you stop beating your wife?
What's that?
When did you stop beating your wife?
Exactly.
Answer the question.
It knocks him off the center line no matter what, you know? And I'm fully aware of the fact that right now there's a certain percentage of the listening audience who's being driven crazy by me fucking with these earplugs. But you do realize that the headphones that Kid Nate brought were for Windows.
Is nothing sacred? Can nothing stay in the back? Who knew there were two kinds of computers?
Yeah. So, and I just finished training and I'm sweaty, so the earplugs have fallen out of the two tiny ears damaged from street fight. So in other words, the question is, does Urijah Faber really believe that Cruz is, or does it seem like a thing that could be convenient to say, or like in every single camp? The thing is, it was like with Nazis, you know, somebody, Daniel Goldhagen said, look, you know, fucking Nazis didn't think that what they were doing was aberrant. The upper echelon knew we should probably keep the secret, but the lower guys were taking photos, sending them back home to their family. They were chattering. They were chattering about what they did, you know. So, you know, teams chatter. Guys chatter. The guy who sells it to you is gonna fucking open his mouth. Somebody's gonna run his mouth, you know. So, but it's an easy thing to say. It's an easy thing that the guy has to address. And it's in, you know, if it's a Nate or Nick, it doesn't get in their head. If it's somebody else, you got a 50-50 chance. Why not blast them?
Well, it's funny because you talk about Nate or Nick. I remember that whole press conference sit down between Connor McGee and Nate. And Nate really was kind of like not saying anything until he's like, "You're on steroids." And God's like, "What? Don't." He's like, "Steroids."
Yep.
And that was the first moment where you saw Conor McGregor get rattled, and Nate just like steroids.
Yep. That's
So,
all you had. It's
right.
like, who's that guy? There was a guy, a baseball player for the Oakland A's, Steve something, who had drug problems back in the 80s, and these hecklers were in the stands, and they were like, "Oh, look, he's on coke now. Hey, you want to do a line, Steve? Steve, hey, man, I got some blow." And sitting in front of them, unbeknownst to them, was the guy's agent. And finally, it was like, "Hey, you guys, he's had a fucking tough time. You want to back off?" And there's like one beat where they're quiet, and then they wait. They go, "Who are you? His drug dealer?" And then, it's like, you wait. Say, hey, accuse the guy of being on steroids. When he loses his temper, you go, these guys having a roid rage. Because you can't, All you got to do is, if you make the accusation, you got to laugh. You got to go, yeah, okay, all right.
How come that tactic never worked for BJ Penn? Because he tried it all the time.
Yeah.
Was he just ahead of his time?
I think he was ahead of his time. I mean, if you're doing it in a time where guys, where I'm not going to get caught, where professional fighters who I know are sneaking other people's urine in the fingers of rubber gloves they've tied off and hidden by their scrotum. Yeah.
Literally OPP.
Yeah, that's right. Nice. Hoping that their body warmth will warm it up from where it's been in the refrigerator, and then when the commissioner leaves the room, then putting it in a cup, and the commissioner comes back and says, "I gotta see you do it." The guy goes, "That's all you got for today. I got nothing."
See, I'm waiting for that kind of smack talk. When you were warming my pee with your body, you're talking all this shit now, but I remember you were like nice and comfy and cozy with my pee.
Yeah, that's right. So, and the guy, the commissioner at that point shrugs, test the cold urine, and he goes, "I don't know. You were in the bathroom a long time. You just sat here. Maybe it chilled when, they test it and go, okay, whatever."
I'm cold-blooded, baby. So, look, speaking about waiting and being chilled out, Eugene, you're RDA.
Oh, golly.
You've gone from whiffing a big money, high visibility champion versus champion pay-per-view points, red panty night with Conor McGregor, to being teabagged as a Fight Pass main eventer with Eddie Alvarez. How do you maximize your relevancy as a curtain-jerking footnote to Fight Week?
You have to completely crush Alvarez. Just crush him like that scene with Hulk and Loki in Iron Man or the Avengers, whatever the hell that movie was. You gotta crush him so that people are like in the audience, like the first UFC where the guy gets the sumo wrestler gets his tooth kicked out, and people are like, "I can't believe I just saw that." That's the only thing you can do to restore your mojo. If you're fighting a 3 or 5 round, unanimous decision, split decision, God forbid, man, you're on a train through the mist, man. It's not. I mean, the thing is, suddenly it's weird when a guy tells you something that's right, you want to deny it's right, and then finally you realize he was right. There was some guy who had warned me off of a woman. I didn't listen to him, and I kept a woman he was related to, and then it was revealed that she was completely and totally insane. And I went back to him complaining, and he got angry with me, and he was like, "I fucking told you. You didn't listen to me. I told you. You ignored me, and now look where you are." He goes, "Look, never, ever fucking speak to me again." And I had one of those quiet moments of reflection, like Rick James. I wrote back, and I said, "I'm sorry, Charlie Murphy. I was wrong. I was wrong. I mean, at this point, shoot Conor McGee an email and say, man, fuck, shit, Jackie." I mean, he sees now that he'd have been better off fighting on a broken foot and losing than where he is now. Really, realistically speaking, this to be the case because he could have come out and said, "Man, I fought with a broken foot, show the x-rays." Maybe he would have damaged himself a little bit more. Maybe
the hype train would have kept on going with Conor McGregor too, so UFC be happy as well.
But it would have derailed the Conor McGee Nate thing, which is now supernova. Leaving people in its wake. Tough.
That's presuming the commission would allow him to fight. But I gotta agree, Eugene's right. The advice to RDA is kick some ass, hurt Alvarez bad, dramatically first round, do him like he did Donald Cerrone, and don't look back. Otherwise, you're just a chump.
Or just grab the mic. I mean, here's how quick this is in terms of a post-match thing, right? You just obliterate him, and then you grab the mic. You just in a rage, you go, Conor McGregor, come and get the ass kicking you were gonna get. You know, like that's all he has to say, or just some kind of like quick rant, just with the adrenaline's flowing, and Eddie Alvarez is a massive heap in the corner, and people go, what the fuck? It goes back to what Eugene said. So, and it's very simple. He doesn't have to worry about translations or, you know.
No, it seems like if people have been following the shows the past few weeks, whether it's Knuckle Up or If I Did It or You Care Don't Care, it seems that increasingly the answer is, you know, this is it's sports, entertainment, sports, that increasingly your call has got to be entertaining. If you can't pull a Chael Sonnen-esque level of smack talk, or you can't pull a Diaz, you know, yo homie smack talk, or Conor McGee, Muhammad Ali late day smack talk. You know, if you can't do that shit, you gotta do something else. You know, Ben Rothwell with the crazy hand stuff he was doing at the end. That you know what? People say crazy, but we're talking about it. You know, there are things. You know, you gotta figure out what, as an entertainer, you got to figure out what works for you. You know, Hitler would have practice his speeches, and then would go to the upper echelon Nazis and go, "Yeah," he go, "Was that pretty? That was pretty realistic, right?" I mean, he's just like every single heavy metal guy, every conversation, every single heavy metal guy in the '80s had with his girlfriend. Hey, how'd the hat look? With scarves. It was like you know, Steven Tyler, right? Wasn't what? Yeah. I mean, you know, you got to get out there, play your stage, man. You got to figure out what works for you. You know, and if you don't know what I mean right now, I'll give you a primer in like 10 seconds. You know, say the most outrageous thing you can about the guy's mother, wife, or sister. Try that.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Because what people want to see are two motivated fighters, and men are typically pretty motivated when people start talking smack about their mother, girlfriend, wives, or sisters. So.
Curveball.
Bing.
Oh, Eugene. Your Afrika Bambaataa. Not one, not two, but three men have come forward and say you molested them when they were little boys. How do you get out of this, Emperor of the Zulu Nation?
You know, this is, man, you don't, well, you know, you don't, man, you know, because, I mean, well, hold on. This is, you know, Pascal's wager again, right? We got the little box again. He did it, and they're lying. He did it, and they're telling the truth. He didn't do it, and they're lying. He didn't do it, and you know, I mean, but I think the number of people and the accusations start to pile up. It's not like this guy is super fucking rich. It's not like these guys are on a cash hunt. It seems to me that they're in that weird place that like the Catholic Church was in Boston. Man, people with no fucking aspect of personal gain, or really just wanting to have the truth be told. And you know, I mean, it's not like this guy people expected much from him, but they certainly didn't expect him to be having. How old were these guys alleged to be when he was doing this?
Supposedly they were tweens, early teens, preteens, and he would. The question I have is, he was giving them blowjobs allegedly. Did he keep his shades and his little hat on, or did he take the gear off? That's I mean, is that a wrong question to ask?
You're going to have to appreciate that nobody probably finds that funny who's been in a position to have had it happen to them. But
I didn't have Afrika Bambaataa creeping on me. I had creeps creeping on me, though. None of them had the headgear. So it's just a question. Just a question.
Your curveball question was, what can
what do you do?
Afrika Bambaataa has ceased being a news item for years. He should hope that continues. You know, I mean, in other words, I'm not apologizing. If I'm Afrika Bambaataa, I'm not explaining. I'm just waiting for it to go away. If they want to bring charges in court, that's fine. You know, Bill Cosby's strategy. Bill Cosby's got deep enough pockets to do that. You know, Michael Jira is just hoping the shit blows over. You know. So if you're a guy who doesn't have deep pockets, you know, these are accusations. If you feel strongly about it, hire an attorney and sue somebody for slander. Otherwise, you just say, you know, I'm a public figure. People can say what they want. You know,
Alexei, what do you think of the strategy he seems to be taking, which is dude's a snitch for the government? That was
three
Well,
guys snitches, huh?
yeah,
Three guys.
that always, that kind of thing in terms of the, raising questions of the credibility. That it's kind of funny because that's kind of like the old school. When you talk about what Eugene was saying with regard to the smack talk and steroids, or going back and saying your mama, saying someone's a government snitch. That's the fastest old school community way of just totally invalidating anybody's credibility. So,
but you're not going to do it with three guys, man. You're not going to do it with three. The numbers start.
I believe two of them are anonymous at this point, though. Only one's coming out with his name on it. So, I mean, two anonymous guys online could be the same guy just logging in and.
I think I saw photographs of two dudes crying. So I don't know if
so there's two guys coming out.
Yeah, I saw those.
And also, people are going to examine dude's life since then.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's married or not, but things are going to look a lot better for him if he is married versus not married.
But then you also have this thing with Mr. C, right? Wasn't his name the DJ who came out? And it was like really, and so that's what the weird dynamic is with this. I think it's a sad dynamic. You have a situation where you're talking about consenting adults. Yep. As opposed to kids, and so I'm sure that those kinds of wires will be crossed by the media and by people that are homophobic.
Well, and that's also the Suge. I mean, it's interesting. It parallels the Suge Knight blast against Dr. Dre, where they said Tupac wanted out of his contract because Dr. Dre was creeping on his butt. He didn't want to. Right. And what was Dr. Dre's response? Nothing. Right. Or as Suge Knight alleges, he then tried to have Suge Knight killed.
Poor Suge Knight's terrified. He's in fear for his life. I mean,
and the jail
musicians are dangerous. Small,
and he's already gotten into fights in jail, and it's not worked out well for him.
Yeah. I'm sure Sugar's just fine in jail.
What would you do, Nate?
The thing is, ultimately, what I'm hoping for is that we have a universe where, somebody saying that somebody had sex with a dude is much like somebody saying that somebody had sex with, a short person, a tall person, a fat person, somebody with black hair, blonde hair, whatever. It's not a non-factor. In this instance, it wouldn't help because it was under the age of consent, in which case you got a problem no matter what. So.
Yeah,
Afrika Bambaataa and half the hot teachers apparently hot high school teachers in America.
Yeah, so you're asking me the Afrika Bambaataa question because that's.
Yeah, I'm putting I'm in terms of your quick take on it. Like, what would you do if you were a Bambaataa?
Well, I mean, it's a bad spot because it's illegal activity. If you're doing stuff like that, you're a depraved criminal. So I can't really advise you what to do, in that situation. Like. Staying out of jail, I think Eugene's advice is just keeping your mouth shut is the best advice. But it's really hard to give advice to allegedly reprehensible creeps, and it's sad because Bambaataa is a hero of old school hip hop. I mean, absolutely legendary. So, yeah,
Well, speaking about old heroes, and it isn't a creep unless you're a big fan of Hillary or you're a Trumper. It's this week's Teachable Moment. Nate, you're Bernie Sanders. With the New York primary results just hours away, ticking, do you pull any PR tricks to prep your peeps for your projected defeat? Or do you not give them any reasons and leave them all behind as you move on to the next race without New York on your mind?
It's too unpredictable to say. If he had thrown in the towel based on polling and then won Michigan, I mean, he was 12, 15 points behind in Michigan. Now, there were some differences in that Michigan had an open primary, but New York has a same-day primary. And Bernie's won every vote on the day of the election. Hillary's been racking up her win in early voting. So this is wide open. You play hardball right up to the end. Now, the question is, what kind of concession speech do you give if you lose? Do you do the Howard Dean just complete meltdown, or do you lay the groundwork for trading something in the convention? I say you play it strategically and talk about all the support you've gotten and the things you want from Hillary, but take a more conciliatory tone. Because if he loses this one, it's done. He has no chance of winning. But don't concede until you've lost. Don't pull an Al Gore.
What do you think, Eugene?
I think, as a native New Yorker myself, I'm gonna have to say, let's look at this like it's an MMA thing. I'm gonna take a bold move, and I have the same invested in it as I did my You know, my picks from this last week, where Kid Nate and I tied, incidentally, for the first time in a long time, according to Smirk, our picks were even. You feel you? Hi, buddy. How does that feel? You're a competitive again. Okay. So I'm gonna say that Bernie's gonna win this, man. And I'm not a Bernie fan or supporter, but I'm a native New Yorker, and I think that, you know, despite the fact that she might have the ears of the press, I think that New Yorkers are, I mean, you know, nobody's fooled by half a second by Hillary being the state senator from New York, man. You know, I mean, I hear Bernie talk, and keep in mind, I'm not feeling the burn necessarily, but I hear Bernie talk, man, and I see I'm telescoped through 5-6 decades of New York living, man. His accents don't even exist in New York. Old school Brooklyn cat. I'm just, you know, and if you don't think that New York is pulling for him in a way that's fundamentally different from how Hillary's pulling, you're crazy. My mother is voting. My mother, who lives in Harlem, is voting for Bernie. You know, this is not my mother, who remembers the nasty Clinton campaign against Obama. You know, who is the pandering, you know, the crap with de Blasio. You know, the news cycle in New York is fast, it's hard, and it's unforgiving. Now, okay, she may win, but, you know, they are pulling out every single one of the stops in order to get that to happen. Yeah, you're talking about if it's a Hillary win, she's a depleted candidate coming out of today, you know. But I think there's a possibility that Bernie could do something very upsetting, even with the so-called 3 million disenfranchised people who fucked up the balloting. So.
Well, time was ticking for that, and time is ticking for the Lost Battalion, Eugene's Lost Battalion / Phantom Tollbooth / Dark Star / Major Tom. So Eugene,
it's been a veritable. I mean, it's been like on Knuckle Up. I compared it to the day after Pearl Harbor when people are lining up to induct. I mean, you can't swing a cat without hitting a guy who's feeling around in the mist trying to figure out exactly where he is. You know, pick somebody off that. Rashad. I don't know where he is. It's heartbreaking, man. And what I posited on Knuckle Up was that the difference is in the old UFC, you had guys who they started. How old was Chuck Liddell when he started fighting? I tell you how old he was. He wasn't 19. You know, so while it was sad to see a Chuck Liddell go down, it was consistent with the age he went down. You kind of go, okay, dude's, you know, he's a man. You know, guys now are having their careers snuffed at 34, 35, 32. That's aching, you know. It hurts. So is it Rashad? Dodson won, but you know what? Dodson's talk post his win was so completely crazy that, you know, if he's not a cynical opportunist and just laying the stakes for some kind of later deck positioning, he's straight up running headlong into the mist. I mean, Glover Teixeira is the smartest guy on that card, because I believe that as a CO, he's setting himself up. He knows by the time it's time that Johnny Boney Joni will be long gone. Will be gone to heavyweights. So that he's actually setting himself up for placement as I'm number 4 right now. I'll be number 3, number 2. When he leaves, I'll be the guy. I gotta be the guy. So he's looking downfield. But you know, Evans. Oh, what about the fight that never was? Machida and Henderson. How about a twofer? Twofer, baby. You know, Henderson's calling him a piece of shit. Oh, I see. Mr. Pot. Yes, Mr. Kettle. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You know, come on, man. And the thing is, it's not, I mean, this isn't happenstance. It's not accidental at all. The clock is fucking ticking, you know, and if you want to be concerned about anything, be concerned about when you look around the room, how many of you guys are 22? Raise your hands. You know, I want to see, because these are the tomorrow stars today. These are the guys you need to be paying attention to, because these other cats, they'll be stumbling, bumbling in the mist, trying to figure out where they are and hoping things work out. I get another name for you, the Mauler.
Lost in space.
I mean, man, oh man, you know, where's he gonna go? What's he gonna do? What's he been doing? Clearly, you got him on one end, you got Donald Cerrone on the other end. Probably the game is somewhere in the middle to be played, but you I mean, there are ways to get out of it. Like there are guys who showed up, in dresses the day after Pearl Harbor. I'm a homosexual. I can't go in the military. 4F. I got flat feet. I can't see. Sole head of household. I'm a gangster, multiple criminal. There are ways to get out of the Lost Battalion that are clever, cowardly ways. But man, oh man, oh man, I gotta tell you, this was a shocker because it reminded me of the fact that all is finite,
including our show. Thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Eugene S. Robinson, at KidNate, at Alexi Old. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
I'm ready. I've been doing this for the last 10 minutes, man.
And leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com. And be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon.com. We'll be back next week with another installment of If I Did It, and we don't know what we'll be discussing yet because the PR mistakes have yet to be made.